It was March 15th. I remember the initial reports I saw was this EMT had been shot and killed.
We just literally hit the door and was shooting. Okay.
When police shootings happen, they're a really big deal.
Door open, door open.
It demands a lot of scrutiny.
When Breonna Taylor was killed, a week before that, Kentucky had had its first case of the coronavirus. Then our governor declared a state of emergency.
This is us against the coronavirus.
We had no idea as a newsroom what is going on.
I think it's fair to say that if COVID had not been so all-consuming at that time, Breonna Taylor's case would have gotten a lot more scrutiny a lot sooner.
All three of these men have been placed on administrative reassignment.
After this shooting, the 3 officers who fired their weapon, according to the department, are immediately put on what's called administrative reassignment, which basically just means you're not working, but you're getting paid while they figure this thing out.
For us to just have to find that strength to move on without her is just gonna be so hard.
By this time, Breonna still was, considered a suspect. Nothing about it seemed right. You usually got this detective that comes and tells the family, like, this is what happened, but nobody said anything of that nature.
I'm not even gonna call it a total cover-up or a cover-up yet, but there are some things that's been horribly mismanaged, and it doesn't take a person to understand the inner workings of the police department to really see this already.
And so we knew we was gonna have to get legal help to get answers.
And they said nobody's giving it any attention. They're just gonna try to sweep it under the rug. I said, we have to do something.
Ben Crump is a powerful and influential voice in the Black community.
What we want is an arrest of George Zimmerman today.
He has the experience in civil rights cases. He's worked on cases like Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown.
We filed that wrongful death lawsuit to make sure that we could get the truth out about what happened to Breonna Taylor, because we did not believe we were going to get the truth from the government agencies that were over this investigation.
What was your hope at that point? What were you trying to achieve?
Just to know what happened. To understand why Breonna was dead.
Police weren't investigating Breonna Taylor. They were investigating an ex-boyfriend of Breonna's named Jamarcus Glover. Everything that happens that night at her apartment needs to be understood in the context of this broader investigation.
Jamarcus Glover is in his 20s. There are a couple of houses in particular in Louisville that they appear to target where he's been accused of dealing drugs.
One place in particular, 2424 Elliott Avenue, became a focus of a sting operation, essentially. Surveillance video was taken.
Walk towards me. Any weapons on you, sir?
He was arrested, taken into custody, pretty much without incident.
He didn't really say what time he was arrested, but what he was relating to me is that his arrest took place before the raid on Breonna's apartment.
If they knew they had their target already in custody, why did they have to go in this law-abiding, innocent black woman's apartment while she slept in the middle of the night?
Were you having any suspicions about the Louisville Police Department?
I did.
Daniel Cameron is the Attorney General for Kentucky. He was brought in this case to investigate the 3 officers who were accused in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor.
Now to new developments in the death of Breonna Taylor, the black woman killed in her home.
It isn't until late June that the police department fires one of the officers who's involved in the shooting. They fire Brett Hankison.
Hankinson was our canine guy. So when we do warrants, he would show up and run his dog.
It's at this moment that the public learns that Hankison fired at least 10 bullets.
Authorities saying Officer Hankinson showing extreme indifference to human life as he wantonly and blindly fired into Taylor's home.
It's pretty clear, just based on what little LMPD said, that Brett Hankinson was firing without being able to see what he was shooting at.
And I don't remember if I shot moving or stopped and shot, but I returned fire.
Brett Hankinson had not maintained a target or did not have a target in sight when he fired his weapon.
Hankinson is appealing his termination. He says he did not fire blindly, and his attorney is calling his termination premature and, quote, a cowardly political act.
Breonna Taylor is killed in this period where there's all of this attention on police brutality.
News tonight in the death of an unarmed African-American in Minneapolis.
The Breonna Taylor case didn't explode into the American consciousness until after the death of George Floyd. Don't shoot! In the explosive protests that followed, other names were brought to the fore.
Ahmaud Arbery happened first.
Ahmaud Arbery, this young 26-year-old black man who was lynched for jogging while black in broad daylight.
Then the George Floyd incident happened. With that, everyone sort of perked up and went, yeah, that happened here in Louisville.
When you get this trifecta of the three cases, I think so many people just said, you know what, we have to change.
So it was May 28th, the first day that we had a protest in Louisville. That was also the same day that the Courier-Journal broke the story of Kenneth Walker's 911 call.
Somebody kicked in the door inside my girlfriend.
It was new and it was really wrenching, and it was one of our first glimpses into what happened at the apartment that night.
In Louisville, in the streets, people were demanding that everyone say her name.
Say her name! Breonna Taylor! Breonna Taylor!
There was this realization that for too long, perhaps, the singular narrative about blacks dying in the hands of law enforcement, men of color. But she spoke to the truth that there are a number of women of color, of black women, who've been on the wrong side of law enforcement.
Until Freedom was founded with this concept of building campaigns around the country that meet people where they're at. We decided that we were actually gonna get up and go. It's now, finally, we getting it going. We putting Louisville on the map. We putting Breonna Taylor on the map.
Will we take advantage of this moment? Can we make this a movement? Can we transform the pain that we are feeling and turn it into power?
I think social media is an extremely important tool. It helps us get our message out faster and broader.
For the first time in 20 years, Oprah was not on the cover of her magazine. You have Vanity Fair doing that.
We have to say her name, Breonna Taylor, because her life matters.
Say her name. Say her name.
Say a name! Say a name! Say a name! Won't you say a name?
Breonna is bigger than Breonna. She now has become an American symbol.
And if we don't say Breonna Taylor's name loudly enough and long enough, then the next Breonna Taylor may be your daughter.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.